I only have one message to give you. I don't care what you think of me. I don't care what you call me. I do care what you do with this information because it is important to our survival as a species.
Hey guys, wanted to make this video because I read this article and it ties into some things I've already talked about. This is off blacklistednews.com. It's called Brave New World Health Experts, in quotes, propose spiking water supply with lithium to stop COVID-19 suicides. So they created the problem, and then their solution to the problem they created is to drug you so you aren't aware of the problem or can't respond to it appropriately. And I made an entire video about fluoride and things that they put in the water in general and just mind control. But I put this specific news clip from Fox 9 at the very end because I thought it brought my point home. So let me play this real quick for you. But this is years before this article came out, which is today. All right?
It's 8:32 now with only 2 weeks left of 2009. We're taking a look back at some of the most interesting healthcare discoveries of the past year. Joining us is Fox 9 medical expert Dr. Raquel Giorgio to talk about it.
She seems way too happy to drug you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First, the U.S. has...
Like, you'd think she was the female Bill Cosby, the way she smiles at the idea.
been adding a fluoride to its public water supply for decades, and of course to prevent tooth decay. Well, now researchers from Japan are suggesting that we add lithium. So why is that?
Well, they're actually not suggesting it, but they're certainly looking into it. Lithium is a medication that in
It always starts that way, by the way. They say, well, we're not doing it. We're just suggesting it or researching it. And then it always ends up happening. So it's like they're just conditioning you and programming you to accept it from the beginning.
prescription doses treats mood disorders in people with bipolar disorder or manic depressive illness. And what these researchers found in Japan is that lithium is present in trace amounts in the normal water supply in some communities. And in those communities, they have a lower suicide rate.
Okay, one thing with what she just said, what they're proposing to put in the water supply is lithium carbonate. Lithium carbonate is not the bioavailable form of lithium. That's lithium orotate. Lithium orotate occurs naturally. Lithium carbonate does not. You have to take about 900 to 1800 milligrams or some crazy dose of lithium carbonate to achieve the quote-unquote desired effects of what they want to do with what you could do with lithium orotate with like 5 milligrams. So it does not occur naturally, the type of fluoride they're talking about.
And so they're really investigating whether trace amounts of lithium can just change the mood in a community enough to really, in a positive way, without having the bad effects of lithium, to really affect the mood and decrease the suicide rate. Very interesting concept.
Yeah, very interesting concept indeed. So that's a video that I put out. Like I said, fluoride as asymmetric warfare. Check it out. I put a lot of effort into that. It covers a lot of things, guys. Like at least 3 or 4 tangential connections to Nazis alone. So filter your water. If you don't have a reverse osmosis filter system, try and pick one up. I'm not going to promote any specific product or anything like that, but they are out there and they do work. So this article, in the video I just showed you, that was researchers in Japan talking about it. So these are researchers in the United Kingdom. It says scientists in the United Kingdom are seriously proposing dosing the water supply with lithium to prevent people from committing suicide due to the despair caused by the COVID-19 lockdowns. So like I said, they create the problem and then want to drug you as the solution to the problem they created. Research has been published in the British Journal of Psychiatry indicating that the use of lithium can result in lower suicide rate. British health experts, in quotes, are attempting to take this correlation and use it as an excuse to drug certain communities that are at risk. The prevalence of mental health conditions and national suicide rates are increasing in many countries. Worldwide, over 800,000 people die by suicide every year. The suicide is the leading cause of death among persons aged 15 to 24 years. So the cream of the crop of our population, the people with the most promise and the whole world and future ahead of them could be, prime age to have families or start to, joining the workforce, finding out who you are as a person, the people who would be the future leaders of our country. Those people are saying, fuck this, and just killing themselves. That should worry you. Don't drug the water supply as a response to that. You should definitely, get at the root of that problem, because, what the fuck, dude? If the most people who commit suicide in your country are the people who supposedly have their whole lives ahead of them, it's not people who are depressed, 40 years old, can't find a girlfriend, and drink themselves to sleep every night. It's, people who are just going into college, just graduating, just getting out of high school. Those are the people who already have lost hope. And it's because of conditions that were created by people who want to dominate and enslave us. And they don't care about us. In these unprecedented times of COVID-19 pandemic and the consequent increase in the incidence of mental health conditions, accessing ways to improve community mental health and reduce the incidence of anxiety, depression, and suicide is now ever more important. It's being suggested that randomized community trials, in quotes, could take place where unsuspecting communities are drugged with lithium. Did you just read what that said? It is being suggested. They're suggesting that they drug people without their knowledge. That's what they're suggesting. Doesn't matter the context. That's what they're suggesting. They don't even want your consent for what they're doing. It shows they don't care about you, that they don't respect you. However, this creates obvious ethical dilemmas. You think, and the scientists are unsure of the amount of lithium that would be needed in the water supply to actually prevent suicides. You see, I doubt that. I think that they've gotten it down to a fine science over the last 70, 80 years, if not longer. So yeah, guys, they want to put that in your water without your knowledge to alter your mood and behavior as a response to conditions that they place you in. Despite all your rage, you're still just a rat in a cage. So here's some drugs. Here's a soma to handle that. And it even brings up Aldous Huxley, Brave New World in the title. Aldous Huxley wrote Brave New World. Read the book. Really good read. I own a copy myself. But also be wary, because he could be on their side. Who knows? I've seen him do the one-eye symbolism on my book. I can actually make a video about that. But I believe he was also a member of the Fabian Society, which their whole thing is deception, and you can get waiting to strike, and you can get into that whole rabbit hole. And then also his brother Julian, founder of UNESCO, so United Nations ties there. So he could have been warning us. He might have known what was going to happen and said, hey, it's my duty to warn people. Or he could have, it could have all been part of their plan all along to let us know they're going to do it and then do it anyway. Who knows? I don't know. Karmic relief, I don't know. And here's another article from Insider. Homicide rates are soaring in cities across America despite lockdowns. 233% increase in murders is at 33. And it says, 233% increase from 4 homicides to 14. Yeah, 10 people more. It might not seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but if you live in a quiet town and a murder-suicide happens and nothing like that ever happens, and it's just normal people who are pushed to the brink to act irrationally, that shows you that it can happen anywhere, small towns. This one as well, it talks about in the wake of COVID-19 lockdowns, a troubling surge in homicides, collapse. People have gotten to the point where they just don't give a damn, said a minister in Kansas City. And that's what I mean. People who are normal, who aren't violent or predisposed to violence, like this article tries to state, are basically reacting to the solutions or to the problems that these people are creating. If you grow up disadvantaged, you grow up with arrested development, you grow up being manipulated from birth and targeted with advertisements, targeted with poison, injected with poison, programmed to think a certain way your entire life, and then you realize everything is a lie and you want to kill yourself, they don't even want you to do that. And I don't think people should kill themselves, obviously, but drugging people is not the solution. You have to take these people out of power. That's the only way to ever make any type of change. So, like I said, guys, they want to do this. Actually, there's another thing I can look up. Yeah, here's another thing I wanted to bring up. This is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration Intimate Partner Violence and Child Abuse Considerations during COVID-19. As the COVID-19 pandemic continues, Americans are required to stay home to protect themselves and their communities. However, the home may not be safe for many families who experience domestic violence, which may include both intimate partners and children. COVID-19 has caused major economic devastation, disconnected many from community resources and support systems, and created widespread uncertainty and panic. So they literally said, and this is not a real virus, people. All of this is fake. They said it's caused major economic devastation, disconnected people from community resources and support systems, and created widespread uncertainty and panic. All by design. It's all planned out. They don't care about you. They create the conditions in the first place. Such conditions may stimulate violence in families where it didn't exist before, and worsen situations in homes where mistreatment and violence has been a problem. And if they know that and they're pushing for lockdowns, why? They're telling you. They're telling you by not telling you. Violence in the home has an overall cost to society, leading to potentially adverse physical and mental health outcomes, including a higher risk of chronic disease, substance abuse, depression, PTSD, risky sexual behaviors. Further, victims of domestic violence, including intimate partner abuse and child abuse, are at great risk for injuries, including death. So yeah, guys, I mean, this stuff is happening, and it's happening because of the lockdowns. So they create the problem over a virus that doesn't exist. They call it the invisible enemy. It's a joke on you. They're mocking you. They don't care about you. They think you're stupid. And then they want to drug you against your will. So if that doesn't concern you, I don't know what will. If you don't wake up, you never will.